Today we're replacing a left front wheel bearing with ABS on a 2002 GMC Envoy. Start with a screwdriver. We're using a 19 millimeter to remove the lug nuts. Next thing we're going to remove is our 18 millimeters right here to remove the caliper. Next thing I like to do is just take the caliper, put it out of the way while we're doing the bearing. Move your rotor. Okay, the next thing we're going to remove is this nut, which is 36 millimeter. And after that, there's 3 18s holding your wheel bearing in place. 1, 2, 3. You want to remove the axle. Make sure it's moving smoothly. I can access these 2 bolts if I turn the wheel out. Got to break them loose. As you can see, that one's coming out. Over here, it's starting to break loose. And we'll do that top one. At this point, if you have an impact, you might want to use that to get it the rest of the way out. And if you turn the wheel the other way, it's easier to access the 3rd bolt on the back side. This certain vehicle has ABS, so it has the wires going to it down to the wheel bearing. So you just got to remove these clips so you can install the new wheel bearing. Watch out. There's one. Once you remove these clips, then you unplug it right here. Next thing we're going to do is remove the bearing off the axle. And you can tell the bearing's already in pieces. I use a right angled disker to clean this up. You got to figure it's a 2002 and it's 2019, so it's 17 years old. So I want to remove a lot of this corrosion and rust so it seals better. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be where the thing can sit in there solid. Put Permatex anti-seize on here in case you have to take it off later, especially in the states that have a lot of corrosion and rust. Next thing you want to do is restart all your bolts. Leave that one started. Sometimes you have to push this back to be able to get the head of the bolt past it. Then you just wiggle the wheel bearing until you get it started. So right now I have them all started. Once you get those started, take them right up to snug by hand, so you don't cross-thread anything. You just want to make sure you do these by hand so you don't cross-thread them. And you can see it's coming out here as I tighten it up. Tight. And we put a 36 nut back on. And I'm just going to snug this up, and I'll torque it to spec once I get the rest of the thing together. I'm just going to run this to snug and torque it to factory specs. I found this has worked for me before. If you have nobody else to hold it, just don't mess up the threads doing it. We are torquing it to factory specs at 135. Take it till it clicks. Next thing I do, run the ABS cable through here. Snaps in place. Last thing we do is plug this in, make sure it clicks, doesn't come apart, put that in the frame. So the rotor, I like to put a nut, see how it falls like that? I like to put that so it's easier to put my caliper back on. Make sure this line is not twisted. Make sure they're tight. Last thing is reinstall the wheel. Make sure you want to install it. There's a little notch in the cover, and it goes right there.